This is VRoc. 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 Chops. This is VRoc. Chops.
All right, welcome back, Chop Nation. We back with another guest, my bro, one of my favorite drummers, myself. I worked with him and taught him in high school, Mr. Keenan Renfroe. So everybody clap your hands, drum roll, something like that. You know what it's gonna be. My brother Keenan. How you doing, bro?
Man, I'm
This
feeling
is
good,
VRoc
bro. I'm
Chops.
feeling real good. How about
Man,
you?
I'm doing well, man. I can't complain. Can't complain at all, bro. So let's go ahead and dive right into it, man. So we gonna I know your answers, but we're gonna get it for everybody to know your answers.
Okay.
We're gonna start off with high school. What high school did you attend? And if you attended college, for the people that don't know, what college did you attend?
All right, for sure. To start off, I went to Whitehaven High School.
You know it's Haven forever.
Shout out to the Haven Black.
Okay, you know.
As far as college, I attended Jackson State.
Hey man, I don't know what I'm doing,
What's up with
how this,
that?
how this working out, but y'all almost 3 4 was it 4 for 4?
Hey,
Gotta figure something out, man. Something going on. Yeah, but it's all good, man. So Jackson State, of course, it's all love. J State, don't get tenderhearted.
hey.
Uh, so high school, Jackson, Whitehaven, college, Tennessee. Oh shoot, Jackson State. What is your favorite drum rudiment? What's your favorite drum rudiment, and why would you consider it to be your favorite?
Favorite drum rudiment? I think I'll say this. I think the most used rudiment that I've had to play was maybe paradiddle diddle.
Okay, one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
why is the paradiddle diddle
I
your
think I would
favorite?
have to say that that's my favorite.
It's your favorite. Why is it? It's my favorite too. But why is it?
Hey, for one, I feel like that was the most challenged rudiment that I had to really overcome
Mhm.
in ninth grade at the time when I first went to Whitehaven or tried to be a part of the snare line in Whitehaven. I feel like that was one of my most challenging rudiments at the moment at that time, and how much time and effort that I really put into that rudiment over time, especially in my high school years, and how they really shaped my overall sound at that time at Whitehaven when it came to my creativity, when it came to learning more about myself as a percussionist on that level as a high school drummer. Definitely. So, yeah.
I got your paradiddle diddle. All right, cool. So what was that moment? When was that moment that you realized, hey, this is what I'm gonna do? I want to be a drummer. I want to play drums. I want to play snare, whatever. Everything I'm playing, I'm focusing on drums. When was that moment for you?
Okay. To be honest, that moment happened when I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. The
Okay.
first time I met Charles Streeter.
Charles Street.
Charles Streeter. Streeter.
The
Yes,
street.
sir. Yes, sir. To start off with that, how that came about, I was a member of Christ Missionary Baptist Church in Memphis, Tennessee. And at the time, there was there were two drummers, an older drummer named Curtis and a younger drummer named Charles Streeter. Of course, we know He's a amazing, iconic Memphis legend, percussionist. He
Yeah,
started right in our city in Memphis, Tennessee,
yeah,
White Haven High School.
yeah.
When I first met him, he was my mentor. He was the one that really introduced me to drums, just the whole world of drums, whether it was marching, percussion, snare, or drum set, snare, or gospel playing, just the idea and the whole world of drumming. I feel like that I was really introduced to that world through Charles Streeter, watching him growing up, um, and seeing him and why he was the drummer at the church that I was attending, and he was playing snare while Haven. He was part of the drumline alcoholic. I wanted to be a part of the drumline, just watching him and seeing how everything was working through the band in White Haven at the time. So
Yeah, that's dope, man. Charles Streeter is definitely that dude, man. That's my guy. That's my
absolutely,
guy. That
he's a
I'm gonna
really
get him on here soon. Uh, he
I,
gave me he gave me my welcome to Whitehaven moment in
mm,
Whitehaven. Although I was a year early coming in, I was in the eighth grade when but he didn't know. But me and him gonna talk about this story. But yeah, Charles Streeter, that's my guy, man. That's my guy. Shout out to Charles Streeter. What's your favorite drum memory from playing drums? Whether it's a gig or a band, marching, high school, whatever. What was your favorite? Or if you have multiple, you want to get one from each level. Let's do that. What is that moment? What are those memories?
my first game in White Haven High School. I feel like that is one of the most impactful and pivotal moments in my life in the world of drumming in my life. I was coming from John P. Freeman School at the time, where my style of playing was really match grip.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really understand it show band style. It was more so concert band style. So just going back on all of the different things that I had to go through at that time in order for me to make it to Whitehaven Snare Line and make it to my first day. Going through the pivotal moments in that summer, going from eighth grade to ninth grade, and having to learn so much about myself, be introduced to drumming on another level that I was never exposed to in person,
Okay.
in hand like that. So definitely Whitehaven, my very first game, it was against Mitchell. It was in August of 2007.
Yep. 7.
Yeah,
Yep.
almost
7. Yep. 7.
years ago, almost 14 years ago. So
So, and
yeah.
what's funny, I missed your first game. I was in school. I was in school. So I didn't get to see that one. But it's cool. I got to see many others. What's one of your biggest takeaways as being a drummer now from where you started to where you at now, how you applying those skills and those practices and those habits from playing drums? How do what's your biggest takeaway coming into where you at now in life?
My biggest takeaway getting to where I'm at now has been paying attention to detail. I feel like that I was lacking that a lot. I feel like that was one
I'm
of
gonna
the
disagree. I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt you. I'm gonna disagree. We gonna talk about why, but go ahead.
oh
That's
man.
yours. But for me, you attention to detail is one of your strong suits in high school for me. So
Okay. Well, I feel like for me personally, that was a challenge.
okay.
Uh, Thank you for that. And to add on to that, I feel like that they did help me out a lot. That I feel like that is what transformed me, the concept of paying attention to detail,
Mhm.
because it was at a point in my life where I lacked it. Even if some people may feel like I didn't, it was a point for me to get to that point where they feel like I didn't, well, to the point where they feel like I do pay attention to detail.
Yeah.
It was a point in time I didn't.
Okay.
So absolutely.
I'm gonna tell you, Kenny boy, for me, yeah, and it's I guess because you was a little bit older at the time. I remember getting ready for marching to games.
Uh-huh.
You'll stand there and you'll be fixing your clothes. You'll be fixing your scrap,
Oh man.
fixing your drum just to make sure it looks a certain way, like you paid attention. So I get what you got that practice from, but I like when I saw that, I said I knew you were gonna take that and move on. Whatever I said, I disagree, man. But of course, you had to get to that point. So I get what you're saying, man. You didn't move until you looked a certain way with your drum on, and that's part of the attention to detail that always remember from you.
Wow.
Always. So hey,
That's
I
what's
got you, man. I
uh,
got you. But you did have to get to that point. So I understand why you said what you said.
yeah,
Cool. Cool. So let's
absolutely.
start my bad. You got some?
I'm
Okay.
listening. Ready for the
Okay.
question.
So let's dive into it a little bit more. Of course you touched on everything. So let's go back into we're gonna go back to high school. You want to start a little bit before from Freeman? Coming to okay, let me ask you this. What made you I think you said it, but what made you say Whitehaven was the school I wanted to go to, knowing that you coming from Jumpy Freeman does an excellent job with their concert band. Show style wasn't something that you guys do, but you all produced some great products that came out of the school. So what made you get to the point like when I go to high school, I want to go to Whitehaven High School? What made you choose Whitehaven?
Okay, three things. For one, it was Charles Streeter. He was a
Okay.
very influential person in my life. Always looking up to him. At that time, I wanted to do everything that he was doing
Yeah.
because he was the storefront of what I felt like at that time was a drummer. And at a certain level, he had the certain swagger in my eyes, had the skill set, had the personality. I'm like, man, I need to go to Whitehaven. He was
Mhm.
funkaholic. I'm like, man, I need to be funkaholic.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I was at John P. Freeman, I'll never forget this. And I still have, as a matter of fact, it's crazy. I actually have the snare case from when I was in middle school when I wrote Funkaholic on my snare case because I wanted to be Funkaholic so bad before going to this day. I still have it. This is in my closet now. But that's one reason. For two, Whitehaven has a very strong heritage when it comes to family history in the Whitehaven community. And a
Mhm.
lot of my family members on my mom's side, which I grew up with, attended Whitehaven. So I have a lot of Whitehaven alumni in my family. So
Yeah.
I was just always around their family. So it just felt like home. I was always at the school, always in the vicinity, in the area, in the community. So that was very influential for me. It's my second reason. And my last reason is um, it kind of tied back into my first reason, but my aunt, Kimberly Morgan, shout out to Kimberly Morgan of Memphis, Tennessee. She was a longtime teacher at Fairleigh High School. And I
Mhm.
was always around Fairleigh High School drummers from elementary to middle school, going into my ninth grade year at Whitehaven.
Right.
For me to be in that community with Whitehaven, but always be at Fairleigh High School, watching them and then actually attending the showdowns during that time, that definitely sparked something in me with Whitehaven.
Yeah. Cool.
Being in that war type of environment, friendly war,
Yeah.
you know, rivalry,
Yeah, family rivalry,
sparked
sibling
something.
rivalry. You just
Yeah,
you just a better sibling, but it's all good. I want to
absolutely.
tell you what's funny for you to mention that when you were in middle school, you had a snare drum case that you had since you was in middle school.
Yeah.
I understand that. You know why? I remember when I first I want to say your ninth grade year, I was with you during the summer when you got ready to leave. I mean, before I got ready to leave to go to school, I gave you a piece of paper with some practice things on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I gave you
Mm-hmm.
that probably because that's when like I said, you was almost the symbol guy. Hey, when you couldn't play a certain way, going over there. But we pulled you to the side, and I took you between the D building and the C building, and I was talking to you, and I said, "Hey man, listen, I know so blah blah blah. I got you. I said, here go Pete, take this paper, work on the stuff on this paper, and it's gonna help you, right?"
Yep.
We fast forward to your junior year of high school, and there was a kid we had that came in that year. He didn't make it through the camp, but you pulled that paper out, that same paper, and you gave it to him. And I said, dude, you still had that? You're like, yeah, I still practice it. I said, dude, so you saying that you got a case from middle school? I believe you, because if you didn't give that paper to that boy, you probably still had that job to this day.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
being able, like you got that skill set to take every little gem that somebody gives you or sow into you, and you hold on to it, man. And that's one of the big that translates into your playing and how you play. Like you take every little thing that you've ever received from somebody or tips or
Mm-hmm.
advice or whatever, and you just hold on to the treasure, man. You put in the treasure chest and you keep it. So man, that's one of the things I do admire about you, man. Always, I never forget that. I like
Appreciate that,
that's
man.
your paper, little blue slip paper. I got it from Teddy Hall, he was the drum instructor at TSU. He was actually my first band director ever in life in the 6th grade at Havenview. And after 6th grade, he disappeared, and I saw him again my senior year. And he was at TSU. I was like, what? And he gave me something we were working on in the percussion ensemble class I was in at TSU. And that paper he gave me, I kept it and I worked on it, and then I just passed it down. So
Yeah.
And I'll tell the words that now it's probably been recycled about 50,000 times since then. So, but yeah, cool, man. So
that's what's up.
So man, so now you made your decision to come to Whitehaven. The one of the best decisions ever. For both sides, and your family got a great family. That Whitehaven legacy thing. I love it. So let's talk about going from 9th grade, the challenges you faced in 9th grade, trying to catch up to what was already there or came in with you. And once you got into 9th grade, you kind of hit that curve, but when was that moment that it started to click for you?
Well, I would have to say the summer going to my 9th grade year was very challenging for me. Very, very challenging. To the point where it kind of broke my spirits, but it was something that was needed. Not really break my spirits, but you got to kind of get your feelings hurt sometime to really get the truth of what is what and what's not is not. So, but definitely the summer going into my 9th grade year was very pivotal for me and very challenging at the same time, which was needed. I was going from John P. Freeman, which is more of a concert style band. We didn't even really have a marching band at all. We had all of 3 to 6 snares, and it was concert snares. We were reading sheet music, which actually played a very big part for me later on. But that was the type of environment I was around going to middle school with John P. Freeman. When I got to Whitehaven, it was a completely different ball game. It was more so show style. It was marching band. It was a lot of more rudiments. It was a lot of more muscle memory involved, a lot of paying attention to detail, which I had to learn. And so, I'm sorry, man. What was the question again? I'm trying to make sure I'm effectively answering what you're saying.
Just talking about your time coming into 9th grade, when you hit that curve saying, okay, I'm starting to catch on to.
Absolutely. So about my story, how I tried out for snare going into my 9th grade year. I didn't make it at first. And you pulled me to the side, gave me that sheet of paper, and I was very motivated at that time because someone believed in me. So I just want to appreciate you up front, man, for real, for everything that you've done for me from that point up until now, man, just being a big brother figure to me and to a lot of other people. So I just want to let it be known, man, across the platform, you are highly appreciated, bro.
No problem. I appreciate that, bro.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
Yeah, for sure. So for me to know that there was someone outside of myself who believed in me more than myself at that time when I was discouraged, because I came in, keep in mind, I would like to think I was kind of talented musically at John P. Freeman with what I was doing. Right. When I got to Whitehaven, I had to humble myself. I thought I was coming in really doing something, and I had to learn a completely different way of playing drums. I had to develop myself in a completely different way. So it was like starting from scratch, really humbling myself, paying attention to everything, just soaking everything in like a sponge at the moment. So learning all of the different factors with marching band and what it truly means to be a part of Whitehaven snare line in particular versus any other snare line. It was a lot more than just chops. There were chops, definitely, but there were other factors in the marching band environment that I had to learn to pay attention to and to really embody and harness in order for me to truly become a part of that unit, which was Whitehaven. And that was, of course, paying attention to detail, visuals, stick height, truly listening to the next person, not being too egotistical, just all of the above. There were so many different things I just had to learn at that moment that was challenging. I feel like the click moment for me was the spring semester of my 9th grade year. I feel like after completing a full football season, really soaking a lot in. I feel like my entire ninth grade year was complete soaking in. I was quiet. I was always paying attention first, talk later, ask questions later, just always really trying to pay attention, take mental note, go back home, spend hours or spend however much time that I spent back home in my own solitary time to develop things, come back the next day, learn some more, just soaking everything in. After that full first football season in fall, going into the spring semester, I feel like I developed the concept of laying out creativity into context. I feel like I was creative, but I had the creative mind with no guidance. I didn't really know it was no direction. I was learning a lot of things. So I really didn't have no mental space to deal with my creativity. Attention, soaking in, taking mental notes, changing this, changing that, understanding this. When I got to my spring semester, I feel like being at Whitehaven High School with the type of drumline that there was, I had no choice but to be around creative people who were in the midst of helping me be creative and know how to put all of my creativity into context. So I started to make my first cadence. My first cadence was at the age of 14, my ninth grade year.
Well, which one was your first
I forgot the name of that cadence. I was just thinking,
Okay.
Man, I forgot the name of it. It's gonna come to me. Just give me about 5 minutes. It's gonna come to me. But DeAndre Brown, a lot of people know him as Being Head.
Mm-hmm.
Dre, Chop, Darius Scott, Chop. Who else?
Brandon.
Yeah, but those two, Chop and Dre, were really the most influential people for me in that time to help me put my creativity into context, knowing how to make parts and not just put chops together, knowing how to actually make separate parts and make sure that they complement each other.
Mm-hmm.
Things of that nature. I learned that really through Dre and Chop. Got my hands wet, got my feet wet with my first cadence. And the fact that Whitehaven was really welcoming into learning my new cadence. I felt like that they gave me the confidence to go further into my world of creativity and shape that side of myself, that aspect of myself as a percussionist.
Right. Cool.
Yep.
So I'm trying to remember. Were you a part of the group that played KV for the first time?
So.
Was it a Chop ninth grade year?
It was probably Chop's ninth grade year.
Okay. Well, I know I'm definitely gonna agree with everything you just said because I think 10th grade is when you brought out their first cadence. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because of how you started, like you say, your creativity was at your senses for creativity was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And I know you were looking in different places trying to figure things out. So, and the things that you created didn't fit the mold of the traditional style of creating stuff for our style of show style of playing. And so it had to be something else. So what other schools were you looking at college wise that help you come up with this stuff that you created as far as like drum parts and all this stuff? Because like I say, I think I want to give you the all the 100%. I'm pretty sure you had some help, but I want to give you that flower of the sticking parts that we had in cadences and stuff. I think that was you that kind of the elevator to. I know you stickers been around for years.
Yeah.
But that level of certain things getting done, I think that was you that brought that whole dynamic of how we play stuff in even the little falls on snare parts and all this stuff. Well, then I think that was you. So what colleges were you looking into to help you hone, channel in on your creativity?
I feel like at that time, the most influential college, it would have to be one for me at that time. And it had to been, I'm gonna have to give it to y'all. But it was Tennessee State.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Let me say this for people. That wasn't a setup question. I was actually assuming he was gonna say like an NCAD or a Bethune. That was me. And see, that wasn't a setup for us for a shout out. I'm take it like that. All right, go ahead, bro.
But yeah, man, definitely TSU, because at the time, with me going to Whitehaven, being around that environment, being around Mr. Warren and Mr. Newsom,
JJ.
Definitely JJ. Definitely. Man, side note, major shout out to John Jordan, aka JJ. A lot of people know him as JJ. He was highly influential to me. Definitely in so many different ways, man. But shout out to JJ. But he was definitely someone who I paid attention to, and he gave me a certain type of spark when it came to the visuals. JJ really helped me to shape my level of attention to detail. Definitely. So being around him, being around the TSU environment, being around Dre, definitely, because Dre, I had to give it to Dre and Chop
Hey,
because I
them
was
bad
around
boys,
him
man.
the most. Yeah, absolutely. Dre was always wanted. He always embodied that TSU style to me in my eyes,
Yeah.
and Chop always embodied. So to be around those type of influences and then watching TSU and JSU at the Southern Heritage Classic and seeing how much they battled out, seeing how much time and effort that they put into everything that made them who they were, that was definitely influential for me. That was during my time I was really soaking everything up like a sponge. So
Right.
everything was around me.
Yeah, so I know, like, so whenever I talk to somebody from Memphis, we always have that one guy, and pretty much like every state has. Florida got Fam and Bethune.
Yeah.
That's their big thing. I think I'm not too positive the East Coast, but NCAT, and I think it's South Carolina. I'm not for certain, but Texas is what Texas Southern and Prairie View. That
Yep.
Mississippi is you pick, so many. Louisiana's Texas Southern and Graham. So for
Count.
Memphis, even though only one of the schools live in the state, Memphis is Jackson and in Tennessee State. That's what a lot of the band people, band drummers, all that. That's who we look at first. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? Although we had somebody to go to NCAT from Whitehaven, Michael Thomas. He went to NCAT. He was drum major for like 3 years. So when he went out, like what? So, and we had another guy, Brian. I can't remember where Brian went. He went somewhere on the East Coast. So we our guys kind of spread it out way more so. But that
Mm-hmm.
Jackson State and Tennessee State, that's what got us going. That's what made us. So I got to do better. I want to do better. So
Mm-hmm.
shout out to the Southern Heritage Collection, man, for sure.
Def-
Okay, so ninth grade, that was the adjustment period, you learning. 10th grade is when you started flowing. 11th grade, you made a cadence. A cadence that is for the cadence so special. We only will attempt to play it if I have a certain type of group here. We want that's not a every year for us case. We'll probably pull parts from it just to put in a show or something. But M1, let me dive into, because I'm gonna do another segment on stuff what we finna do now as far as like inside the cage, inside the battle, what I'm
yeah.
saying, something like that. And so what went into your thinking on M1? First of all, let me see, did it start off with just a solo and then you went into some other stuff, or what was your thought process with you creating M1?
The first thing that came to my mind is I'm gonna have to let everybody know what's up. I need to let everybody know what's up. That's when I felt like I had a lot more to bring to the table creatively, and I had the confidence to just go after it. I feel like even though I was learning everything and I was getting better as I was matriculating through my 9th and 10th grade year, I felt like my 11th grade year, after those first 2 years, it definitely gave me the confidence to just kind of just shoot for it, just go for it. And I was really ready to do something different, just a different sound, a different way of approaching rudiments, a different way of developing different phrases. Yeah, that was pretty much it for me at that time. It was those just embodying those concepts for me. Those were the first things that came to my mind when I wanted to make that cadence.
Mm-hmm. And
Absolutely.
that John there is a killer.
And
Young boy
but
is
some
a
people,
killer. Huh.
what what some people don't know about that, a lot of people know that cadence is M1,
Mm-hmm.
but the full title of it is Murder He Wrote Part One.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I have Part 2 and a Part 3 I think I still have the videos when I first made those cadences.
I know there's the snare parts for sure. I think I seen snare parts for sure. But yeah, man. So cool. So we can go ahead into your senior year. You know, that was a somewhat of a rebuilding year for us, even though we had talent still. You know what I'm saying? It was real rocky. But you know, we managed to push through and get the job done.
Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit about your senior year and transitioning into going to Jackson State, which was one of the biggest surprises for me when I saw you leave and going there. Like, what? Like, we worked on this. So, but yeah, let's talk about your senior year going into college and what made you come up with that final decision and say, okay, I'm not gonna go to Tennessee State, I'm gonna go to Jackson State.
You know, it's so funny that you said what we worked on this because I really did put time into auditioning for TSU, trying to get a scholarship from TSU, and work on a lot of the music cap that could have yielded money for school to go to TSU. I felt like I was learning to embody the TSU style through my development, going through ninth grade, going through 10th grade until I started to find my own sound more in the 11th grade year and things like that. I auditioned for TSU at Whitehaven, and I ended up getting a full ride, which I was highly thankful for. And I just knew, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be it for me. I had a lot of other options at the moment, at that time, but TSU was definitely one of them options for me. Always been an option. Then I ended up getting financial assistance, scholarship offers and whatnot from Jackson State. With TSU, it was more so band, it was strictly band. With Jackson State, it was band, it was more so academics, and then a lot of other type of scholarships, other scholarships that I was able, or different programs and whatnot through Jackson State that I was able to really have myself taken care of and whatnot.
You got money. He got money. Get it all for him.
Honestly, it was the style for me. I felt like TSU, honestly, with TSU and JSU having so many similarities, they still can be polar opposites. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I didn't learn too much about Jackson State. I was always on a certain end of the snare line that was always embodying or trying, just mentally embodying their TSU mindset. Even though we all worked on stick height, we worked on formations and everything like that, it was always Brandon Henderson and Chop on one end, holding it down, doing their thing on one end, and me and Dre holding our thing. And just mentally, we just kind of had that, that polarity mentality, but we were all still together mentally, but right. So I guess just embodying that type of style my first 2 years and then learning more about myself going into my third year in high school. I just never really paid too much attention to Jackson State until really my junior year at Whitehaven, and watching Chop and seeing what is it about Jackson State that Chop loves so much. Cause I'm telling you, I've never seen any other
tunnel vision. We talk when I say tunnel vision, like the blinders with a horse, he didn't see nothing else.
What? I'm talking about when I was 14, when I first met him, I knew Jackson State. That's all he knew. That's all he knew, but that's all he was worried about. Like, look, this is what I'm about to do, and I'm about to make it happen.
Yep. I'm talking about me. I'm not fussing, but me, I'm going back and forth with his mama. He going to tease. You know what I'm saying? when I say the only goal Chop had was go to band practice, do good in school, talk to the chicks when good grades, graduate, go to Jackson. That's all I knew from him, and he did that. He went to Jackson and he took care of business, man. All y'all took care of business, man. Wherever y'all went, y'all took care of business. So I'm very proud of y'all for that too, man.
Absolutely, bro. But yeah, man, that was it. That was one reason. Then for two, my mom went to Jackson State, so I was always around that JSU family growing up. Okay. It was always an option for me. Not too many people knew that my mom went to Jackson State, but I was always around. So when I went to open house,
Always the
When I
most.
went to open house, we were both down there. I met a lot of alumni down there that she was cool with. It just felt like home, man. I was like, oh man, it was just, there were different factors that played a part in it, definitely.
I was listening when you was mentioning. You said you had academics. So one of the things about Keenan that I'm speaking on, you went to John P. Freeman. So everybody in Memphis knows John P. Freeman is a upper echelon educational elementary, middle school. So you're not gonna get in that school unless your grades a certain type of way. So if you coming out of John P. Freeman, you already have a certain way of thinking about education, and it's been instilled in you already. Then you got a family that pushes education. You went to Jackson and you had part academics scholarship, meaning that when you was in high school guys, he took care of business and he went to class and he did what he was supposed to do. One no extra. He was still one of the coolest people in the school. So get in your mind, just because you're smart don't make you lame. Just because you're smart don't mean you got to be a geek. You could be
Uh,
as cool or if not cooler than anybody you think is cool that's doing halfway going to class, halfway doing work. Do your work. Make sure you're going to class, graduate from high school. It's nothing wrong with doing things the right way. So keep that in mind for my high school guys. So yeah, so you went to Jackson
Absolutely.
on a part with
Yep.
one of your scholarships being academic. So I'm pretty sure your mom graduated and they helped with some other, fees and tuition type stuff too. So you went in set when I have to pay
Mhm.
anything out of pocket, right? So how many years did you march at Jackson?
Unfortunately, I didn't complete a full year at Jackson State as
Okay.
far as the marching band. I didn't finish a full season. And it was mainly really the only there were two reasons why, but the main reason was because of academics
Dang.
at the time. Yeah, that was a very, very, very challenging and stressful time for me to try to adapt to a lot of things that I had to shift about myself as far as my lifestyle and how I had to get so many things handled at that time. Most of my funding from Jackson State or for Jackson State was from academics.
Mhm.
Even though I was funded somehow with music, it was more so academics. And at the time, things weren't really going so well for me academically. Um, just having a serious imbalance for me personally. I won't speak for anyone else, but I know for me there was a serious imbalance between with the time and effort that I had to put into school in order to keep that money so I can go to school. I just had to make a very difficult decision at that time. And even to this day, it's still tough for me to talk about because I think about it. Well, it's not tough for me to talk about, but I still feel a certain type of way. But I'm thankful overall that I made that choice because for me at that time, it was the better choice for me to make.
Right.
But yeah,
And you got nothing to be, worry about. Number one, you did what 80% of the people that go and finish a whole year, Jackson did. You graduated with a degree. So you took care of business, man. And you, like I said, you have to make those decisions what's best for your long term and not the short term. So that's 100% respect for you doing that. You know what I'm saying? And that other things have come out of that I want to dive into more, which you got into playing your drum set. And you got into that a whole lot more. They led to some dope opportunities that I want to talk about. The first one is one of the big ones for me,
mm,
is you got to work on a movie. You was actually in a movie called Get Up by the great James Brown. Not only that, you got to work with Mr. Chadwick Boseman.
yeah, absolutely.
Talk about that opportunity, how that came about, and what was it like, being on that stage.
All right. First off, man, shout out to Chadwick Boseman. He was an amazing man, seriously, and not just to bring that up, just to talk about someone, but he was truly a genuine person, cool guy all the way around across the board. And I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to meet him and actually share words with him and just catch his vibe, really feel him out, get to really truly fellowship and interact with him as a human, as a person. That was really cool. It was brief, but the fact that I even had that opportunity, yeah, man. So shout out to Chadwick, rest in peace to him. that whole situation came about, really it stemmed from me being in a jazz band. I was a member of the jazz ensemble, both jazz ensembles at Jackson State. That's tied into my second reason for shifting over to leaving the band at Jackson State in the middle of my freshman year. And after that, I started to dive more into the drum set world, and really tap into that part of my mind as a drummer and a percussionist. So I ended up getting a jazz band scholarship, and just being around that type of environment, I got word from a few band members in the jazz band at that time that there was a movie that was going to be filmed in Mississippi. They didn't even say Jackson, it was just in the state of Mississippi, but they were going to have auditions in the city of Jackson, downtown. I didn't think too much of it. They didn't even say what movie it was for. They just said a film. I didn't know how big the film was going to be or how small, whether it's going to be a short film, or I just knew it was for Universal. So I'm like, okay, it has to be something. I didn't think too much of it, but I really just wanted to go just
to do
say
it.
that I went just to check it out. And, so I went to the first audition. I heard about it from a few friends in the jazz band. Audition. There were a few other guys. We went downtown to check it out. The first audition really wasn't an audition.
Okay.
They went out information. I didn't think I was going to get, advanced to the next part, but I ended up advancing.
Okay. So make sure this. So the audition, did it consist of you actually playing, or was it? What was the audition consist of?
The first audition wasn't an audition. It was just getting our information, getting our passport pictures and everything, and they getting a feel for who they could possibly fit for certain roles. The second audition, and that was in Jackson, in the city of Jackson, downtown. The second audition was in Natchez, Mississippi. So I had to drive down there. That lasted hours. I've never been around so many people trying to audition for the same spots, man. It were hours, man. But it was pretty cool. It was cool. The first time comprised of me saying different lines. I didn't even know what the lines were for. I didn't know what role they were looking for. They just had certain scripts. That was the first part of the audition. And the second part was actually playing drums.
Okay.
They really didn't care too much about the playing drums. Like they saw it. They wanted someone skillful.
Yeah.
Which really helped out. But that was the first 2 rounds of the audition. That was really what it was comprised of, looking at the script and checking out the drums.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you, once you did the audition, when did you get the call saying, hey, you got the part, then filming and all that stuff? And just talk about how all that played out going into filming, and how the days went to schedule and all that stuff. Let's talk about that too.
Okay. So after that second round, there were multiple rounds. There were different cuts that we had to advance through and filter through to get to the point where I got a spot or got a role in the movie. After the first 2 rounds, we had to wait on a callback. It was a callback for the first 2 rounds. To advance to round 3, we had to wait on an email.
Okay.
And what is so crazy, I'll never forget this story. There was a friend of mine that was in the jazz band with me named Reggie. He played saxophone. Very talented, one of the most talented jazz saxophonists I've ever come across at such an early age, man. We were in college and he was at a career, like iconic, world-class musician level college.
Shout out to the HBCUs, produce great products. Go ahead.
Absolutely. But long story short, I ended up getting an email that I was shocked about. And it's crazy because I feel like this was divine intervention. I was actually doing laundry at Jackson State at Campbell Suites. It was between 2 and 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Learning as a college student, juggling college life and all of that. I was doing laundry in the wee hours of the night.
Yeah.
No one else was in the laundry room but me and Reggie. And he randomly came to me and asked about the movie. I didn't want to tell him anything about it because I'm like, this is my business. I had just gotten an email that same day. He came to me and brought up the movie, and I'm like, yeah, I done heard about the auditions, And long story short, we ended up coming together on that. And we had to come to find out he had the same email. So I'm like, oh man, you made it to the third round. Okay, cool. So we ended up teaming up. We ended up driving down there together to Natchez. Drove down there. There was hours. We just had to sit there for hours and just wait. And man, that was one of the most nerve-wracking moments of my life. Just being nervous, just waiting, just trying to play it cool. We talking to each other, just trying to keep it cool and all of that. And we found out that day, I don't even remember what year that was. I think that was maybe 2013 or something like that. But I found out, I got an email. We were thinking we was going to get a call back. We were already there. We thinking, but they ended up emailing us. And that was life-changing at that moment. That was the third round in Natchez, Mississippi, having to drive. We went through so many different obstacles trying to get there. We had to skip class. We had to talk to some of our teachers. Then we had an issue with the car. Then, man, there was so many different obstacles, man.
And what's crazy, you know how life works and how the enemy try to discourage you from reaching a higher purpose. He's gonna always throw roadblocks in your head to discourage you from, reaching a certain destination that you're happy that you should be going to, but he want to discourage you. And it happens all the time, man. With anything can get in your way to discourage you from reaching a bigger purpose or a bigger goal. So, man, just you having that will and drive to keep going, that's always dope, man. So the film actually took place in Jackson?
Some of it was filmed in Jackson. A lot of it was filmed in Natchez. So even after I had to do arrangements with classes and whatnot to drive there and do certain scenes, rehearsals. Even rehearsals were in Natchez.
That's crazy, man. That big movie was in little old Natchez, Mississippi.
In the middle of nowhere. And people, they had full out 18-wheelers lined up. Had everything like you would have never known. They literally had Hollywood on 18-wheelers.
Yeah.
Coming to Natchez, setting up shop.
Wow, that's dope. So how long were those shoot days when you actually started filming? How long were those days? How, the process of that makeup and wardrobe and all that stuff?
Rehearsals were in Natchez. Rehearsals lasted a few hours. I would have to say maybe 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours.
For rehearsal?
For rehearsal.
So rehearsal consists of live playing?
Some of it was live playing, some of it was simulated playing. A lot of it that was the first time that I really was exposed to a program, like not only playing to a track, but having a program show, having certain time signatures and moments where you stopping and starting different transitions that didn't seem right, but it all aligned to the film and all of that. That was the first time I was definitely exposed to that and learning music in that type of environment. Not just learning songs straight out format to format, but learning pieces, then learning another part, then having a crazy transition with the drums, going into another time signature, waiting for a second, so approximately, waiting into just having everything lined up with the film basically, but not really knowing from your end, you just know you're playing your part. Right. So that was really cool. That was pretty cool for me.
So I know you've been still such a stickler for detail. Those practices from that movie has translated into your regular gigging type of situations and all that programming and all that stuff, right?
Absolutely on a whole nother level. Yeah. That's what I'm thankful for it, man. The concept of paying attention to detail.
Yeah. So what else did you do? I think you did a play, right? You did like some type of stage play?
I did a few plays. It wasn't in Broadway in New York, but the fact that I had the opportunity to work with Broadway musicians and Broadway actors and actresses, that was an amazing experience. That was in Jackson. It was actually shortly after the movie.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So your resume is looking real good over there, buddy.
It was cool, man. Just these different experiences and just having a lot of whoa moments and just trying to play it cool, but soak it in. I'm very thankful for those moments. And to answer the question real quick, because you asked me about how long were the actual sets when it was time to actually, film and everything. When it was film days, it was That was like 12 hours in a day, 12 plus hours, 12 to 14 hours of filming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got a good stipend every day, so it's all good.
Took care of us. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, you got taken care of. You know, I did a movie myself not long ago, you know.
Oh! Oh, beautiful!
Oh man.
Talk about it too much, you know. It went to the theaters, you know.
Hey, oh man, that's what's up.
Yeah, we only did one day of shooting, and we were done in about 8 hours. Brian Banks, to be exact, you know, Whitehaven High marching band was in Brian Banks' film. The football stadium scene at the high school that was at Whitehaven, bro.
Oh wow.
Yeah, shout out to the Heavy. Yeah, they filmed that back at the stadium, bro. We had on green and gold. That's what we had on that day. So if you watch that movie, you got to put it in slow motion and watch as he ran down the field and panned down that field. It's the, you know, that's kind of like I said, you doing that movie, man. Just saying how they did production for that. No, we did one day, literally. We did one. We got all our stuff done in one full day. How they, you know, what I'm saying, set all this stuff up to make it look like it was more than what it is once the actual movie came out. So
yeah, man.
I got a movie under my belt, man. You know, it ain't like nothing like yours. You know, they ain't know my name, but you know, I'm in one.
Got experiences, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So cool. So let's go ahead and let's see. What Keenan got going nowadays? I know you do a lot of gigging and stuff. Well, you know, post, you know, pre-pandemic and all that stuff. So, what you got coming up?
Yeah. What I got coming up right now, really, honestly, I don't really have too many things musically coming up right now. Not anything, any projects, anything that I'm working on at the moment.
Okay.
Yep.
I know you moved to Nashville. That caught me by surprise because it was funny. You were the drummer for your home church not long ago. Christ Missionary, right?
I was missionary.
Yeah, man. You disappeared on me. I'm like, when can it move? So
yeah,
I'm like, man, it's all good, bro. It's all good. Well, man, I appreciate you, dude. And your story, man. What can you give to the young people that may watch this, man? You know, as far as like maneuvering through life and trying to figure things out, you know, young, and then the ones that may not be as skillful. And like I'm gonna say this, I told Chop, and when I talked to him, I said he was kind of like that LeBron James-ish type of player, drummer, as far as snare drum, like a generational player. You know, he had to learn some stuff, but it seemed like it didn't take much for him to actually catch it. And then you, on the other hand, you know what I'm saying, you came in and you had to actually work to get to a certain level, man. And so it's cool for me to see firsthand those different dynamics. And I've had, you know, of course, it's kind of like, you know, in life, things kind of repeat itself over and over again, like every couple of years. You know, it started with I can say I'm gonna use you and Chop, for example. Chop was like, he got it, it's easy. He didn't have to work, he had to work, and he worked to stay great, you know, stay good. But you, on the other hand, you came in behind, you had to work until you got to the level of like, and like probably like your junior year, it was like Chop was the man. He was running stuff, and then your junior year, your creativity, Chop, okay. So he had, you know, and one thing that's what I loved about that F5. Y'all build and worked each other so much, stayed at it each other with stars, you know what I'm saying, in competitive way to push each other to get better and to keep working it. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the things that helped elevate the Haven to where we at, man, because we had you guys like y'all came at the right time together. You know what I'm saying? Even though y'all didn't come in all together, but it was at the right time. It was perfectly aligned to get that thing going, man. So what kind of advice would you give to young people that's watching or that may be watching, you know what I'm saying, about pushing through and reaching goals and stuff like that?
I would say to be intentional with what you feel like you want to do with your life or with yourself. And I know this may seem cliche, but follow your dreams and chase your dreams, because dreams don't get shut down unless your perspective of it gets shut down. And it's directly related to the perception of yourself. And that matters so much. I feel like I was able to flourish as a drummer because not only did I learn a lot, you can always learn a lot, but you're not going to be great at anything unless you truly believe you can be. And yeah, man, just making sure that whatever that you want, envision it and see yourself doing it. Really see yourself doing it, whatever you truly want to do, whatever, even if it's anything outside of drums, just anything in life, you know. Yeah, the perception of yourself means a lot. So whatever you want to do, always envision yourself, picture yourself being there, embody that, you know. And I feel like nothing really came to me until I came up with the confidence, until I was able to see it for myself. I can really see that for myself, that I can attain that, you know, and just went for it. Just go for it. Even if other people are around you, even if you're going to be discouraged at times, but you know, that's a part of the game. It's not for the weak. Everybody has the capacity to really be whatever that they really want to be. So yeah, I just say go for it. And because no one is going to love and believe in yourself the way you are. Right. People are going to believe in you, but hold in on that and really just go for it.
Right.
Yep.
Cool, man. Cool, man. I appreciate you, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's always fun talking to you.
Yeah, bro.
Very, 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 very wise for such a young man.
Man.
Very wise, man. You've always been that way. And I do want to let you know I'm very proud of you and everything that you have accomplished in your life and still accomplishing and going to accomplish as life progresses on, man. So, John, you just keep doing what you're doing, bro. Proud of you, man. So, for the rest of y'all, Chop Nation, man, that's going to conclude this interview with my guy, Keenan Renfroe. Man, I hope you guys enjoy. I need you all to like, share, and subscribe. Number one, subscribe to this channel and enjoy, man. Pass along, man. Share this information because we're bringing some good info, man. We're bringing some great info, so man, please do that for us, man, so we can keep this thing going. Hit that subscribe button at the bottom right side of your screen. Push that button, man.
Push the button.
What are you doing?
Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push your button. Push the button.
You heard what she said.
We keep this thing going, man. Until next time, man, remember, for the rest of your life, the rest of your days, even when you leave this place, the chops don't stop. Y'all have a good one.
This is VRoc Chops.